Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Primary Market Chatter brought to you by Sunday Investing. This is the December second week episode. What we do is we talk about the IPOs which are going to come in the market next week and give a fundamental review about them. Since it's a barrage of IPOs next week, we have decided to do this in two parts. We'll do part one right now, and then probably sometime we'll do part two. It feels like after a long time there are so many IPOs, and because like it's like everybody was waiting for that counter trend rally. As soon as the market has become slightly better, we are seeing a barrage of announcements, like just IPOs being announced like anything. Like I think there are some 8 to 9 IPOs next week, and then already a few 3, 4 IPOs closing next to next week as well on Monday, Tuesday, and some of them are very big size IPOs as well. So we'll be covering about all of them, but yeah, just want to highlight a couple of specific information before we get into the specifics. A, we are not SEBI registered research analysts. So anything we say is not a qualified opinion. It's just a read. Think of it as a read and take it as something which can supplement your read, but do not go blindly basis what we are saying. B, we some of the opinions may be counter to the GMP, etc. What we try and do is just from a fundamentals perspective, try and read about the company, what the company does, what is their growth, and how do we see the company going forward. So that's with respect to the announcements. One more thing, if you haven't joined the YouTube channel yet, go ahead and join the YouTube channel where we kind of post these spaces as well so that you can listen to them at your own leisure. I'm just trying to post the comment, post the link in the first comment, but I can't do it. Give me some time while I try and figure that out. In the meanwhile, we can get started. And just let me set up the agenda for the day. So we'll be starting with 4 SMEs. We'll be first talking about Jungle Camp, then about Emerald Tyres, then about Dhanlaxmi Crop, and then Toss the Coin. And then we'll be ending with the 8,000 CR IPO issue, which is Vishal Mega Mart, and something which a lot of people want to understand how the company does and what are the future prospects for the company. So that is about the agenda for today. We'll try and keep it between a healthy mix of Hindi and English, but we have learned that we'll probably, and this is for all, and majorly for me because I'm the biggest culprit, but we'll try and keep at least the numbers in English because, like, we understand when I say 36 crore, that's slightly confusing, and 36 CR is a lot more better. So yeah, we'll still learning. We'll figure out how it goes, but yeah, that is with respect to the few announcements. Let's now move forward and talk about the first company. The first company which we'll be talking about is Jungle Camps India. Jungle Camps India is a conservation focused hospitality group that operates wildlife camps, hotels, motels, guest houses, health clubs, etc., and has an inventory of 87 rooms. If I talk about the IPO details, it's a 30 CR IPO, all of which is fresh, coming in at a 111 crore valuation. In terms of the FY24 financials, the company did a revenue of 18 crores and a PAT of 3.6 CR. So the company is coming at like a decent valuation, like let's say around 32, 35 PE. And the BRLM is Kambata Security. So with that, having set up Jungle Camps, maybe Rohit, do you want to go ahead and talk about your read of Jungle Camps?
Sure, Manish. So yeah, I'll cover Jungle Camps. So this is, as Manish mentioned, this is a 30 crore issue. It's fully fresh. Jungle Camps is a boutique hospitality company. They have 4 wildlife lodges. These are mainly in Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh. Along with these wildlife lodges, they also have a motel and a restaurant. But those are much smaller components to their business. They operate like a brand plus operator model. So it's a little bit like a Taj or a Lemon Tree, where the hotel brand and the operator is one entity. This company started in 2006 with the launch of the first lodge in Pench. And then they didn't do anything for many years. As they sort of were happy running that single lodge for almost 12, 13 years. But in the last 4, 5 years, they've really picked up steam with the launch of 3 new lodges, one in Tadoba, one in Rukhad, which is also one of the zones in Pench, and in Kanha. So these are, I would say, these are the best national parks. Maybe if you exclude Bandhavgarh, these are probably the 3, 4 best national parks in central India. So the locations that they are in are all excellent. I personally really like this wildlife tourism sector. It's also because personally I am a safari enthusiast, and anecdotally I've met a lot of people, spoken to a lot of people, and over the last, let's say, 5 to 7 years, this particular segment has seen a lot of interest and a lot of people who legitimately view this as a holiday destination with that thrill of seeing a tiger. It's something I think our government has also done a lot to push the story of tiger conservation. So I like the underlying sector and the underlying trend. Of course, people can study it and determine if the numbers sort of back it up. But I personally do quite like this. With the funds raised, they plan to set up two new resorts, and especially the IPO funds, two resorts. One is in Sanjay Dubri, which is another very good national park in Madhya Pradesh. And there's also a hotel in Mathura, which is a slightly different thing for them, different from the model that they have followed so far, where they will collaborate with an IHG. So this will be more of that operator model, where they use the IHG brand, but they will operate that hotel. So that is more like a Juniper or a Samhi, in the model. Apart from that, they also intend to set up another two resorts from internal accruals. And generally, they have taken good steps, for all of these four properties. They have either paid the lease deed, they've either signed the lease deed, they've paid some sort of initial amount, they've got the projects awarded by the tourism boards, or at least they've got an LOI from the tourism boards. So it's not like this is just simply like just a pipe dream. They've taken certain steps and committed certain amount of cash for all of this. So again, it shows good action and good sort of forward thinking. But one thing to keep in mind here is that the time frame for these new projects to go live is at least 3 years, or two years from now. So the first of these projects will only go live by end of 2026 and the remaining in 2027. So there's a lot of time before any revenue or any new rooms will be added, from any of these projects. Today they have about 87 rooms. Once they have this, their rooms will almost triple. So there is obviously future visibility. Of course, everything needs to go on track and so on, but at least you have to give that time, right? It's not something that is just going to explode, like next year. In FY25, there's not going to be that much, or FY26 also is not going to be that much change. Generally, the ratings and reviews for the resorts that they're running are all good. They're all 4.5 plus on Google, all 5-star on TripAdvisor. I've had a look at the pictures of the place, and they're all really nice, good sort of 4-star properties, places I would consider staying, nice locations overlooking a lake and sort of tree house type. So very well made, well done kind of places. The one thing that I found a little lacking was I felt that the utilization rates are a bit low. Two properties are at 50 and 60%, which is still decent. But another one is at 40, the Kanha one is at 40, and of course Rukad is at 20. Rukad is still somewhat new. But I still feel that the utilization rates, for good hospitality businesses generally is considered under 75% sort of range. And the Pench one has been around for, almost 20 years now. And still they operate around a 50% utilization. So I'm not sure what exactly the reason for that is. Safaris or safari camps are obviously skewed towards H2 in H1, especially in that quarter where there's heavy rains. Most of these will operate very low utilization. But still, I feel that the overall number, it feels a bit low. It would have been good if there was some sort of clarity somewhere from the management on this. The numbers are good. I think all hotel business in the last 3 years will show phenomenal trend just because, after COVID, everyone started from zero. But I think you can also see the impact of new properties added. So they've grown to about 18 crore from 7 crore 2 years back to 18 crore last year top line. EBITDA is also good, 34%, which is a good. Generally, you can get to, when you're owning and operating, you can get to 40-45% EBITDA, but the trend is good, and I think they hopefully can get there. Good clean balance sheet. I didn't find anything concerning there. It's also promoter family run, and the good thing is you can see that the next gen are in the business now in core operating roles, which can also maybe explain the sort of aggressive growth in the last few years. A good set of independent directors, with good contacts. You guys can have a look in the RSV, but probably this is also helpful, when you need to get projects from the tourism boards. The business is coming at, if I just come to the valuation, the business is coming at an 18 times EBITDA of FY24. You could say that it's probably close to 15 times on a trailing basis. And good, well-run, growing hotel businesses get a 20 to 25 EBITDA. So don't look at the PE multiple so much. Generally, this business is valued on the EBITDA, EV/EBITDA basis only because of the nature of the P&L. I think if there's good growth, there's a good story. This is not an unreasonable ask. 15 is not an unreasonable ask. It can get 20, 25. So I do see some gains on the table. Main question is, future revenue growth will come after 3 years. They will probably maybe tweak their utilization, improve it a little bit. At 18 crore last year can maybe become 22, 23, 24 crore. But how far they will go is the question. And so this is not something I'm going to chase. I've seen the GMP. GMP is very, very high. It's not something that gives me a lot of comfort to chase at 35 P if it lists at 90%. Sorry, EBITDA multiple if it lists at 90%. So I'll definitely apply for this, but I will not chase this on listing. That is my plan.
Got it. Thanks for your review, Rohit. Just one question at top of your mind, who would be like, I understand, like, comparable, like, there's no direct comparable because this is slightly more niche segment. So maybe, but like, if I have to really compare it to a peer and then give a, let's say, a 10% extra for being in a slightly niche or probably a higher ARPU segment, because I'm assuming general camp would be a higher ARPU than a regular hotel, right? So how do you look at, like, let's say a peer?
Yeah. Yeah. So see, the one thing is the ARPU is actually not mentioned anywhere in this document, which is a bit of, at least I couldn't find it, or maybe I've not searched properly, but I couldn't find this RevPAR and those kind of metrics that are typically associated with hotels. But yes, this will have slightly higher than say a business hotel for sure. But so remember Saj Hotels, which just came some time back. Saj Hotels also runs, I mean, they had two properties, and one of them is actually a jungle resort or a resort in Pench only. Uh, that trades at 14, 15 EV EBITDA. The numbers are not as attractive as this one in terms of the margins and in terms of the growth. But this is already coming at 15 EV EBITDA. So I'm not convinced about giving it beyond, say, that 20-25 times, which is what the big hotels that show whatever 20-25% year-on-year growth. That's what these guys get, and that's what I would be comfortable with. There's this Aspire, which I've not honestly tracked very closely. I just saw it in the context of this review. But that's a company that I think acquired this Country brand. They're paying a royalty and they've taken that brand, and they are growing exponentially. And that company trades at 35, 37 EV EBITDA and is growing way faster than this. I don't know what their future growth is and so on, but like that itself seems like an upper cap of what multiple, say, a hyper fast growing hotel business can in India. But generally, with the exception of Taj, which trades at 45 times, everyone else trades in the 20 to 25 sort of range. And that is where I would sort of be comfortable myself.
Got it. And that's very well summarized. So, but at least at IPO level, you feel like this is a good bet and to get in and then probably hold if you get in and see, because as you said that the capex will take time, right? The new hotels will come only by 2026,
Yeah,
2027.
minimum 2 years. Minimum 2 years. The impact will only come in FY27. So it'll just be about juicing their utilization and maximizing that right now. So there is scope. But again, with bench, after 10, 20 years, their bench lodge is still at 50%. Tadoba in 5 years has become 60%. So it shows the importance of the location and the underlying national park and so on. But Kanha in 5 years is only 40%. So like everything is slightly different. I don't know what more they will do to really take that utilization up to 75%, which is sort of best in class in the hospitality industry. So but yeah, even if you give them some concession there, that 18 crore can probably go to 25, 27 crore. But beyond that, it will come with new addition of rooms, which is a long way away.
Got it. Thanks. So, anything on the LM's track record? Like, I'll tell you where I'm asking this because I have seen that this LM usually there is a lot of hype before the securities get listed and then they suddenly die off. I remember Divine Power did something like that, and then there was this wire company, I think, which they had come up with as well, which had a similar fate. So, would
Correct.
you
That's
do
I'm not able to buy the GMP. The GMP is coming at a very, very high. Like if it lists at GMP, it will list at 30 plus, 30 more than 30 times EBITDA. I would not buy this company. It can list and go up 1-2 circuits because it's also a small issue, 30 crore. If the mood is good, it can do what it does, but it doesn't make sense just on a fundamental basis. If there is a good promoter interview, I know some people have attended this the pre-IPO meet. If there's some good information there that I am not privy to, maybe that can drive it. But at least with whatever is in the RHP and whatever is clearly laid out as plans in the RHP, it doesn't look like something that should get like a 35-40 EBITDA multiple.
got it?
I mean, no hospitality business in India gets that. So I don't see what's so special about this to get that.
Yeah, just to drive my point home, you see Divine Power listed at like 152 rupees against IPO price of 40, so 280% gain, and then it went down all the way to like 85, 90, and then is back up to 127, but hasn't reached the listing price till date, and it's been 6 months. Similarly, Vibhor Steel listed at 442 against IPO price of 151, and then is down 50% from this. Is at like 226. So yeah, what I've generally assumed, but right below that is EMS, which is a very good issue, which has done consistently done well. So won't be like right to
Yeah,
just point out.
I think beyond the point, if you give it a year, like EMS has been over a year now. So if you give it a year, the company's performance will take over. Uh, but it's more about that initial, first month and a half, 2 months where it can go up, but then can very quickly be brought back down to where the market is comfortable, sort of trading it at an equilibrium.
Got it. Tanmay, Yash, do you guys have anything to add on Jungle Camp, or we can probably move forward in the interest of time to the next company, which is Emerald Tires?
So I have a small doubt. Is my voice clear?
Yes.
Yes.
So there is a trend observed that the foreigners have the visit of the foreigners in this reserves or the sanctuaries have been witnessed a slowdown from past 3 4 years. Do you feel that can impact their margins or the yield?
Sorry, yeah, I have a feeling I don't think the problem is so much foreigners as the number of options people now have at these lodges. So I think the domestic tourism for the same thing is increasing dramatically. Again, slightly anecdotal, but given that I do this a lot myself, like every year I will go for 2 or 3 safaris, and I visited almost all the major national parks in the country, and I speak to a lot of people in that process. So I can see that the domestic tourism has gone up a lot, and the main thing is that the amount of choices that you have gone up so much, like compared to where 10 years ago. Like, just if you just take Kabini, which is near Bangalore where I stay and where I've maybe visited 5 or 6 times, the choices that we had then and the choices we have now probably be 5 times more places to choose from. And Kabini is very controlled. Like, that entire area is under the control of the Karnataka government through jungle lodges, and you need like permits and stuff. So it's not even that easy. But every place you go, there are 2x, 3x the number of places that you can choose. And that competition, I think, might be what is sort of holding them back more than foreign drop in foreign. As in, I'm not personally aware of this as a data point. So I don't have a comment. More anecdotally, I feel that the demand is not a problem. It's just that there is also constant supply of new places to stay. And a lot of people just like trying a new place. All of these places look very good. They'll all be well rated. So if you stay in one place, you might go to another place the next time to experience a slightly different, say, sense of hospitality, or a slightly different location, a different viewpoint, vantage point, whatever that may be, different kind of food. So it's not that straightforward for a very small brand to really be a brand and to be the person that you come to every single time.
Got it. So with that, let's just wrap up Jungle Camp. I am going to apply for this issue, at least at the IPO price. Definitely not going to chase it at listing at least at the premium. The premium needs to be much lower for me to make sense out of this issue. But yeah, that is what I'm assuming the consensus is, and then we can move forward to the next company. Cool. Moving forward, let's talk about the second company, which is Emerald Tires. The company manufactures and sells tires under the brand name Grexter, with mostly 75% export sales, and is a market leader in off-highway tire manufacturing segment. Talking about the IPO details, the company is coming up with an IPO of 49.2 CR, out of which 47.4 CR is fresh issue and around 2 CR is a OFS. And the company is coming at a market cap of 185 CR. So a decent sized company, like, still has a lot of growth left per se. In terms of the financials, the company has done a revenue of 171 crores in FY24 and 12 CR PAT in FY24. So coming at, like, let's say 15 P. In terms of the LM is GYR Capital. So yeah, let's start talking about this company and just set it up. So as I was saying, the company manufactures tires, and it started in 2002. So it's a good 25-year-old company, mostly from promoters of South India, Chennai based, like some 40 kilometers away from Chennai. There's this village where they are, and it has very excellent port connectivity as well as railway connectivity, which kind of works in the favor of the segment. Then they have this 10.5-acre plant where they manufacture tires. The company started as Emerald resilient tire manufacturers, but then they changed the name and removed the resilient and now are called Emerald tire manufacturers, and they manufacture tires under the brand name, as I said, Gregster as well as Emerald. What they do is like when I'm talking about tires, it's not the usual highway tires that you think of. It's majorly for off highway tires and majorly for carrying different luggages, etc. So all of those off-highway uses that you can think of. So think like forklifts, etc. Think like mining equipments. Think like let's say on airport you have cargo containers who take out stuff from the airplane and then send it to the place where it is stored. So all of those places is where this company works on, and it provides tires for all of these segments, material handling applications. So it's like a niche in material handling segments, and in this segment in itself is probably growing over the last 10 years and is expected to continue to grow at 7% per year. So it, uh, the company enjoys a very good reputation in this specific segment where they do good work, and like around 75% of their sales is from the export division. I'll talk more about it, but yeah, so that's the very high level what the company does. Then they have like two major products under which they sell. One is the solid resilient tires and the second is industrial pneumatic tires. So think of both of these tires basically, like from very high level, what I could understand, they increase the steel percentage when they are making the tires in rubber slightly so that they are more less prone to punctures and can be more used on roads which are rough and are not highway level roads. So these are all solid tires per se. So that's why like the two segments are solid resilient and the industrial pneumatic segment. And then they have some small segments on press on bends, which is like 60% steel and 40% rubber. And then wheel rims, which kind of as the rim of the tire. And they not only just manufacture the tire, but also have systems in place where they help the companies fit and unfit tires from these forklifts, etc. Because all of these are very specialized pieces, and it's not like changing your regular car tire. So it's a lot more skill dependent. So they kind of help with that as well. So if I talk about the revenue of the company did like 171 CR, as I said. So out of which the two major segments which they work on is solid tires and industrial pneumatics. Solid tires compose like 86 CR, so around 55%. And then industrial pneumatics is like 70 CR, around 40%. But again, don't think of them as any different. It's the same because the margin profile on both of them is same. So doesn't really matter on what they are doing. It's just as schematic of how they are doing things. If I talk about out of that 170 CR, around 40 CR is from domestic sales and 130 CR is from the export sales. So the export sales है वो comparatively ज़्यादा है. Company around 76% of all their stuff is export sales, which is a good thing because they are able to. So like they said that in 2008 they started their first export division in Belgium and then the second one in Dubai. So majorly the thought process behind that was just being able to manufacture tires which are able to adhere to quality standards of Europe, and वहाँ के quality standards यहाँ पे ले आए तो उसके बाद it becomes a lot more easier. And also like Dubai, they started with the whole point of like जो भी airports वहाँ पे हैं उन सब airports के जो forklifts हैं उनको ये टायर दे पाए. That's how they started the Dubai division. So they have subsidiaries in strategic locations because of that. And if I talk about their current capacity, they've been operating at almost at full capacity per se. So which is what you will see in their revenue as well. Like when I'll talk about the revenue, you'll see that it is slightly flat, but that's because they have been operating almost at full capacity, and the capacity is something which they plan to expand using the current IPO proceeds. We'll talk about it more, but yeah. So the solid resilient tires is at like 76% capacity, and industrial pneumatic tires are at like 103% capacity. So they are overutilizing what they have currently. This is basis FY24 data. And now, like coming back to why they want to raise the IPO. So जैसे मैंने बताया 48 CR IPO है, 46 CR is 49 CR IPO है, 47 CR is fresh issue, out of which 36 CR is for capex, and then the remaining 11 CR is for general corporate purposes. So in 36 CR capex, they ideally want to do two things. One is mixing plant, which is like which is when a टायर इज मेड, वो क्या होता है, रबर लेते हैं और उसको स्टील या जो भी अलॉयस है उनके साथ मिक्स करते हैं. सो दैट्स द फर्स्ट पार्ट ऑफ द प्रोसेस इन विच दे आर प्लानिंग टू स्पेंड लाइक अ बिग अमाउंट. सो 40 CR is what the capex is. 36 CR they'll use from IPO proceeds, and 4 CR they said they have internal accruals. 22 CR out of that 40 CR is going into this, and then the 14 CR is actually going into increasing the capacity of these two plants. So it says that the solid tires manufacturing capacity will go up from 20 tons a day to 50 tons a day, and the industrial pneumatic tires capacity will go up from 11 tons to 30 tons. So there's going to be a big capacity expansion. If they are able to supply, then the demand should, like if they are able to get demand for it, then supply should not be a problem, considering that they will increase the capex. One major highlight, that the capex will get completed in June 2025. So it's not like it will right away start showing up in revenue. ऐसे एकदम से revenue नहीं बढ़ने लग जाएगा, क्योंकि capex में time लगता है. 9 महीने का cycle है उनका, जिसमें वो capex करेंगे, और production जुलाई 2025 से चालू होगा इन नए plants का. So that's something which you need to keep in mind. Going back to the financials, the company did, like in FY22, they did somewhere around 134 CR of revenue, which increased to 167 CR in FY23, and then 171 CR in FY24. And like right now, they did like 64 CR in 4 months. So like almost hitting 185 or something like that. And that's pretty much the cap, I feel, which the company will have until they do the capex. So they're coming in line to do the capex. So which is good. In terms of the asking price, the company is coming at like a PE of 15, and this is based FY24 as well as the 4 months of data. So this is one industry where you don't see typically increasing margins like crazy suddenly in the IPO year. Although like you'll see that FY23 तक इनका margin थोड़ा सा कम था profile. FY22 तक they made 5 CR, but that's more because like they had so much debt. Like a lot of their cost, a lot of their PAT profit essentially goes into servicing the debt. I'll come to that, but yeah, so it's coming at like a 15 PE, which is a very good number. I feel it's just that, will SME appreciate a company which is very good controls? Like when I was listening to the promoters also, they kind of mentioned that they have a credit providing policy where they'll not extend the credit beyond a certain point, and they knew what they were speaking about. But having said that, a couple of things, the guidance which the promoter gave was like 15 to 20% increase year over year in revenue. And like if the industry sustains and there are growth wins, that they can do more. But yeah, so will industry appreciate a company which is planning to grow at 15-20%? And what's the PE which the market will give is something which we need to see. I personally think that the market will give it like something like a 40p at max if it was to come in Mainboard and growing at 20-25%. Here, I don't know. So that's a question which we need to think, but at least at IPO price, this is a very well priced company. It's like at 15p. I think it's a good bet and should be definitely looked at. In terms of the peers, the company has shown Balkrishna and TVS Sri Chakra as the peers, who are at like 32p, 40p. But yeah, that's, as I said, those are Mainboard peers. यहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम क्या है कि ये एसएमई कंपनी एंड एसएमई कंपनीज, लाइक देयर इज सो मच एक्सपेक्टेशन फ्रॉम एसएमई कंपनी दैट आई जस्ट फील की दैट माइट जस्ट एक्ट अगेंस्ट द कंपनी. One, two more things which I want to highlight during the interview which I heard were that debt to equity for the company is high. It's like 2.5. इंटरेस्ट कवरेज रेशियो इज लाइक 1. सो बेसिकली कंपनी ना 10 करोड़ का तो इंटरेस्ट भरा है उनने और 12 करोड़ का पैट है. सो वन वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग विच ही सेड वन एनालिस्ट आस्क्ड वाज दैट योर पैट इज योर interest is too high. He said that he'll use the GCP amount in order to pay back some of the debt, which was interesting. If they do that, then that will definitely help, because there's a 11 CR general corporate purposes amount as well. If they can reduce some of that debt, like let's say 5, 6, 8 CR, that will definitely help in order to increase some of the PAT. Other than that, they did say that they right now, like they are majorly in the replacement model rather than the OEM model. So think of it this way. OEM मॉडल क्या हुआ कि बेसिकली B2B, उसने क्या किया, कोई कार बना रहा है उसको जो भी फोकलिफ्ट बना रहा है उसको टायर दे दिया और रिप्लेसमेंट वो हो गया B2C जहाँ पे तुमने डायरेक्ट कस्टमर को वो दिया. सो व्हेन आस्क्ड कि व्हाई दे आर मेजरली इनटू रिप्लेसमेंट, दे मेंशन दैट व्हेन यू आर डूइंग वर्क विद OEM, like you have to adhere to conditions like consistent price for a year, कि तुम्हारा रॉ मटेरियल कितना भी फ्लक्चुएट हो तुम्हें कंसिस्टेंट प्राइस देना है, जस्ट इन टाइम डिलीवरी देनी है, जैसे ही तुमसे मांगे तुम्हें देना है, और अगर नहीं दी तो पेनल्टी होगा, which essentially the company doesn't feel, but they are slowly going into. So I again feel one of the major problems of this segment is essentially that it's a agree, like it's a commodity business end of the day. तुम्हारा जो raw material import वो है rubber, तो अगर तुम्हारा rubber का price change होगा, unless you can't pass it to the customer and end user, that's when it will be difficult for you to make money. So that is why I feel it should be getting slightly subdued, PE, and especially because it's a SME, although it's a very well quality SME, but it's just that does it leave enough on the table, especially at the GMP at which it is showing. At IPO price, it's a slam dunk apply, definitely apply at 15p. One good thing in terms of the anchor book, HDFC tha anchor book mein, and then like 14% of the company pre-IPO is owned, 12% if I'm not wrong, is owned by Rajasthan Global. Think of however you want to think it. I would not say it's a positive or negative, but yeah, that's my read of Emerald Tire. I've been speaking for a long time. Rohit, Yash, Tanmay, any of you guys have anything to add? I've been on a monologue of my own.
I don't know if I missed it, but what will the capacity become after the new capex is live?
So think of it this way, वो 20 टन पर डे है, वो 50 टन हो जाएगा जो फर्स्ट सेगमेंट है, विच कंट्रीब्यूट्स लाइक 60%, एंड देन जो सेकंड सेगमेंट है वो भी अराउंड 11 टन है, इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग, विच विल गो अप टू 30 टन. सो थिंक ऑफ इट लाइक एटलीस्ट 2.5x. The capacity would be 2.5x. So it will not be a supply problem at all. But again, like listening to the promoters, I don't think that it is selling like hot cakes ki jahan pe tum pe jitni supply ho tum wo bech doge. The problem is also the demand. They don't expect more than 15-20% growth year over year.
Got it. Got it. And how would this compare to something at Tollins that came recently that got beaten up after listing, and then suddenly there's a lot of interest again? So they were also more into this agri kind of tires, tractor tires, and stuff like that, right?
You were the one who had read Tollins and never read Tollins, but
No, I'll add on it.
yeah.
Tollins 76% revenue comes from the tread rubber, and Tollins is based in Kerala and just 100 kilometers away from the natural source of rubber. But Emerald is not into the tread rubber, is it into plain solid tires? So I think we cannot compare on, I think, majority parameters on from anyone like Tollins or Beat GRP.
What's your view of a good peer for these guys?
आई थिंक मतलब ये सेगमेंट में कोई छोटी सी कंपनी ऐसा लिस्टेड तो नहीं है ज्यादा. आई थिंक आई नीड टू चेक, बट मुझे तो ऐसे दिमाग में कोई नाम नहीं आ रहा है.
Got it. Nothing else, Manish, to add. All of these tend to get priced very quickly with GMP, and then if the GMP is 60%, they list at 90%, and make it even harder and even less sensible for people to enter.
Yeah, I feel some of the flippers again. This is a very highly interested IPO because just the promoter quality is very good. Like I'll give you an example, and this is something which I was telling Rohit as well, where the questions which were being asked were like somehow trying to fit it into a theme where people were asking, hey, are you doing any defense contracts? Or hey, are you doing any recycling? Have you thought about recycling some of the waste? And so that trying to fit that GMP, but the person just blankly said, hey, we like the issue with recycling is not really the usage of the recycled material, it is the collection. I'm not in the business of collection. I'm in the business of usage of that material. I'll use whatever I can, but collection someone else has to do. So again, like it's difficult to see how SME will rate this company, but I feel that this is a solid company if you can get at IPO price and just forget about it. If you are someone जो ऐसे बहुत सोचता है कि भाई UC कब तक है तब तक ही रखनी है फिर बेच देनी है, then probably time it, but if I get it, I'll keep it. I don't mind holding because the promoter quality, I would want to give them the time to execute. I feel their market presence, their dominance is good and they'll do well as a brand. So that's what my take is. So if we have covered that company, just want to highlight अभी तक हमने दो कंपनी की बात कर ली and we are slightly behind time. We have spoken about Jungle Camp and we have spoken about Emerald Tires. If you have missed any of these, ऊपर link pinned comments में आपको YouTube channel का link दिख रहा होगा. वहाँ पे भी I'll post the space as well. So you can go ahead and listen to this space at your own leisure so that you can understand about the companies as well. And also we post these spaces every week. हम हर हफ्ते post करते हैं. So you'll keep that in mind. Having said that, let's move forward to the next company. So next जो company है उसकी धनलक्ष्मी क्रॉप साइंस की बात करते हैं जल्दी से. Company is a technology-driven seeds company that develops, produces, processes, and sells seeds for various field crops and vegetables. If I talk about the company's IPO details, the company is coming with an IPO of 23.8, 24 CR, all of which is a fresh issue, and the market cap is like 90 CR. In terms of FY24 financials, the company did 64 CR of revenue and 4.7 CR का इनने पैड किया था. So the company is coming at like let's say 20 to 22 P. And LM for the company is Finshore Management. So yes, do you want to go ahead and speak about Dhanlaxmi Crop Science?
Sure, Manish. So Dhanlaxmi Crop Science is a technology-driven seeds company which develops, produces, and then sells the seeds of various field crops and vegetables. They have more than 18 years of experience in the seed industry. What they do is they integrate the traditional breeding techniques with the help of biotechnology tools, and then they produce hybrid and open pollinated variety field crops, and then they sell it using their distributors. So they have produced seeds for almost 24 different field crops and vegetables, and they have operations in more than 5 states across India. Their research and development activities consist of their breeding programs, जिसमें they try to research कि हम कैसे more production कर सकते हैं with a less cost, and use innovative biotechnology tools, जिसका एक type भी है. I'll talk more about it ahead. वो टाइप से दे यूज मोर बायोटेक्नोलॉजी टूल्स जिससे वो डेवलप करते हैं अपना खुद का सीड, एंड देन दे सेल इट यूजिंग द डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स. जो ये कंपनी है इनका एक टाइप भी है. 2015 में दे डिड टाइप विद मैको मुसांता फॉर बॉलगैट 2 टेक्नोलॉजी. सो बेसिकली ये एक टेक्नोलॉजी है, साइंटिफिक टेक्नोलॉजी है, जिससे ये लोग ब्रीडिंग बहुत फास्ट करते हैं एंड ज्यादा यील्ड होता है इनके कम सीड्स का. तो ये इन्होंने 2015 में टाइप करा था. अब द ओनली इशू विद दिस टेक्नोलॉजी इज कि ये टेक्नोलॉजी जो है विद द कंपनी, ये काफी डिफरेंट कंट्रीज में बैन है बिकॉज ऑफ दिस नेगेटिव इफेक्ट्स जो इनके टाइप ऑफ ब्रीडिंग से होता है. जैसे डिफरेंट डिफरेंट मेडिकेशन प्रॉब्लम्स हो जाती हैं फूड में कंज्यूम अगर हम सेम चीज को करेंगे. जैसे नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट द कॉटन वगैरह का सीड, बट अगर कोई वेजिटेबल सीड है एंड वो इस मेथड से हमने पॉलिनेट करके उसको बनाया है, तो हमें काफी हेल्थ इश्यूज आ सकते हैं इन द लॉन्गर टर्म. तो एफडीए में वो अप्रूव नहीं है कुछ कुछ. तो काफी कंट्रीज लाइक रशिया वगैरह में उनको बैन किया गया है. तो दिस इज वन ऑफ द मेजर रिस्क कि अगर इंडिया में दे टेंड टू ब्लॉक दिस, तो थोड़ा इशू आ सकता है. बाकी कंपनी लुक्स फाइन टू मी इन टर्म्स ऑफ द फाइनेंशियल्स. फाइनेंशियल्स भी डिसेंट है कंपनी के. 51 करोड़ का बैलेंस शीट है मोटा मोटी कंपनी में. 24 करोड़ का इक्विटी लगाया हुआ है. 24 करोड़ का इक्विटी लगाया हुआ है. जस्ट एक सेकेंड, आई ओपन द बैलेंस शीट ऑल्सो. यस, सो 24 करोड़ का इक्विटी है. मोर और लेस कंपनी ने पैसा काफी इन्फ्यूज करा हुआ है, बट 24 करोड़ के इक्विटी के अगेंस्ट भी इफ यू सी प्रॉपर्टी प्लांट इक्विपमेंट उतना है ही नहीं. ग्रॉस ब्लॉक की खाली 6 करोड़ का है, एंड नेट ब्लॉक की बात करूं इंक्लूडिंग डेप्रिसिएशन तो ऑलमोस्ट 2 करोड़ का नेट ब्लॉक है. तो कंपनी के पास प्रॉपर्टी प्लांट इक्विपमेंट तो ज्यादा है नहीं. एंड इसको भी अगर बाइफरकेट करूं मैं कि मशीनरी कितना है, तो ऑलमोस्ट खाली 70 to 80 lakhs का मशीनरी है. बाकी आई थिंक ऑलमोस्ट 1.10 करोड़ का इनके पास ऑफिस कंस्ट्रक्शन ब्लॉक है, जिसमें खाली वो ऑफिस वगैरह का काम करते हैं. एंड जो बैलेंस शीट का साइज भी इनका इंक्रीज हुआ है, वो आराम से दिख रहा है. जैसे 2022 में 20 करोड़ का साइज था बैलेंस शीट का, देन नेक्स्ट ईयर भी 2023 में 20 करोड़ का था. 24 में 34 करोड़ का हुआ, दैट कंसिस्ट ऑफ करंट लाइबिलिटीज। 14 करोड़ का इन्होंने लाइबिलिटी लिया था, मोस्ट प्रोबेबली फॉर द वर्किंग कैपिटल साइकिल। देन अभी भी 2024 में 51 करोड़ का ऑलमोस्ट टोटल बैलेंस शीट साइज है इनका, जिसमें से प्रॉफिट का कंट्रीब्यूशन इज ओनली 5 करोड़ लास्ट ईयर में से रिजर्व्स एंड सरप्लस में। बाकी सारा जो भी कंट्रीब्यूशन आया है वो शॉर्ट टर्म बोरोइंग्स में आया है। 7 करोड़ का शॉर्ट टर्म बोरोइंग बढ़ गया है, एंड लॉन्ग टर्म बोरोइंग भी बढ़ चुका है इनका ऑलमोस्ट 10 करोड़ से, क्योंकि इन्होंने ट्रेड पेबल्स में फंसा हुआ है। एसेट साइड में बात करूं तो ट्रेड रिसीवर्स काफी स्टक हैं बैलेंस शीट पे। 29-30 करोड़ का ट्रेड रिसीवर्स है, कैश खाली 20 लाख का है, और इन्वेंट्री भी है 15-15.5 करोड़ की। तो मोटा मोटी जो भी इन्होंने कमाया है आधे से ज्यादा तो बैलेंस शीट में फंसा हुआ है। भाई 22 करोड़ आना बाकी है और 15 करोड़ का इन्वेंट्री है, तो माल ज्यादा बिका ही नहीं है। अगर रेवेन्यू की बात करूं तो रेवेन्यू काफी इंक्रीज हुआ है इस हाफ ईयर में स्पेशली। लास्ट ईयर 63 करोड़ था, इस साल 120 करोड़ है। अगर मैं ग्रॉस मार्जिन की बात करूं तो ग्रॉस मार्जिन 22% था लास्ट ईयर, इस बार खाली 16% है। आई थिंक दे हैव ट्राइड टू सेल एट अ लोअर कॉस्ट, एंड इस वजह से उनका ग्रॉस मार्जिन कम हुआ है। इन टर्म्स ऑफ एम्प्लॉयज, आई वाज चेकिंग देयर एम्प्लॉयज, इनके आरएचपी में आई थिंक 62-63 टोटल एम्प्लॉयज हैं, जिसमें से मोस्टली दे हैव फोकस्ड ऑन 34 एम्प्लॉयज इनके सेल्स में है, तो सेलिंग एंड सेल्स में ज्यादा एम्प्लॉयज हैं इनके। रेस्ट प्रोडक्शन वगैरह में खाली 8 एम्प्लॉयज, एंड देन मार्केटिंग वगैरह में खाली 2-3 एम्प्लॉयज थे। सारा फोकस सेल्स पे है, सेल्स एंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन पे। तो बट मैंने अगर इनका ईपीएफओ डेटा देखा था तो 2017 से इनके नंबर ऑफ एम्प्लॉयज उसमें कंसिस्टेंटली 45 एंड क्लोज टू 40-50 रेंज ही रहा है। बट इनका जो एम्प्लॉय एक्सपेंस है बैलेंस शीट और प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस में इनके, वो थोड़ा मतलब इन्फ्लेनेटरी दिखा रहा है कि ऐसे राइज हुआ है एंड हमारे एम्प्लॉयज बढ़े हैं, बट दैट इज नॉट ट्रू। अगेन इन्होंने आई थिंक दे हैव ट्राइड टू book their revenues early by increasing their trade receivables, क्योंकि कैश फ्लो स्टेटमेंट में भी कंपनी हैज जनरेटेड ऑलमोस्ट -7 करोड़ का ऑपरेटिंग कैश फ्लो, जिसमें से 20 करोड़ ट्रेड रिसीवल्स में इंक्रीज हुआ है। अदर करंट लायबिलिटी कम किया है, बट ट्रेड रिसीवल्स भी 11 करोड़ का पे करना है, तो डिपेंड ऑन कि हाउ दे मैनेज देयर ट्रेड रिसीवल्स। दे हैव ऑल्सो मेंशन्ड कि जो पूरा ट्रेड रिसीवल्स है ये लेस देन 6 मंथ्स है, तो उस पे उन्होंने बैड डेट नहीं प्रोविजन बनाया है। दे आर थिंकिंग एज दैट कि ये गुड डेट है, एंड दे विल होपफुली गेट दिस कन्वर्टेड इनटू कैश। बैलेंस शीट में भी लास्ट 2 ईयर्स से 5 करोड़ का इंक्रीमेंट दिखा है। तो बेसिकली इन्वेंट्री कितना ही बनाते जाओ बट वो सेल होना चाहिए, एंड इफ दे आर ट्राइंग, जैसे ग्रॉस मार्जिन कम हुआ है तो दे आर ट्राइंग टू सेल इट एट लोअर कॉस्ट। दैट इज अ नेगेटिव पॉइंट फॉर मी। वन प्लस पॉइंट विच आई फाउंड इज कि कंपनी ऑलमोस्ट हाफ ईयर में 8 करोड़ का प्रॉफिट कर चुकी है, एंड इज अ कमिंग टोटल नंबर ऑफ शेयर्स आफ्टर दिस फ्रेश इशू विल बी 1 करोड़ 63 lakhs। तो अगर 85 के हिसाब से, मतलब 55 के हिसाब से भी अगर इसे देखें तो ऑलमोस्ट 90 करोड़ का पोस्ट इशू मार्केट कैप हो रहा है। प्रमोटर होल्डिंग अच्छा है, 99% प्रमोटर होल्डिंग है, तो पोस्ट इशू भी ज्यादा डाइल्यूशन नहीं हो रहा है। अगर 8 करोड़ के हिसाब से इसको एनालाइज करके देखें तो मतलब अज्यूमिंग कि दे विल डू सेम टाइप ऑफ ग्रोथ इन देयर H2, तो 16 करोड़ का रन रेट बैठ रहा है। 16 करोड़ के रन रेट पे 90 करोड़ का कंपनी मिल रहा है हमको, तो दैट इज क्वाइट चीप एज पर मी। क्योंकि जो इसके पीयर्स हैं जैसे मंगलम सीड्स वगैरह, देर क्लोज टू 17 और 20 का पी के बीच में, तो फॉरवर्ड अर्निंग्स पे अपन को 5 का भी मिल रहा है। अगेन द रिस्क इज इफ दे अचीव व्हाट दे हैव शोन इन H1, तो कंपनी चीप है, एंड आई थिंक आईपीओ अप्लाई करना चाहिए, क्योंकि शॉर्ट टर्म में वैल्यूएशन रीरेटिंग कैन हैपन टू इट्स पीयर्स। वन थिंग इज कि मोस्ट ऑफ द रेवेन्यू इनका जो आ रहा है वो आ रहा है कॉटन सीड से ही। द रेस्ट ऑफ द कंट्रीब्यूशन फॉर अदर 24-25 सीड्स इज वेरी मिनिमम। काफी कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड क्लाइंट पोर्टफोलियो है इनका, टॉप 5 कस्टमर्स से 86-85% का रेवेन्यू आता है, प्लस मोस्ट ऑफ द फोकस इज इन तेलंगाना। बट वैल्यूएशन कंफर्ट है तो आईपीओ अप्लाई करा जा सकता है।
So yes, couple of questions. FY24 basis पे this is at 22 PE, right? Like 4.5
Yes,
करोड़ का पैट, 90 करोड़
yes,
मार्केट कैप.
yes.
तो
But if I
H1
convert it into
में
DPM, assuming
हम्म,
that कि
हम्म,
हाफ हाफ हुआ था, तो मोटा मोटी 90 करोड़ का इशू है, 8 करोड़ अभी कर दिया, ऑलमोस्ट 10 के पी पे मिल रहा है हमें टीटीएम पे।
नहीं, मेरा सवाल यही है कि ऐसा क्या हो गया कंपनी में कि सीधा 4.5 एक साल में से 8 करोड़ 6 महीने में कर दिया?
दे हैव गिवन अ वेरी वेग रीजन फॉर दिस ऑल्सो मनीष। उन्होंने खाली अपने जो आरएचपी में लिखा हुआ है कि वाई देयर टोटल इनकम रोज, उन्होंने लिखा है कि हमने डिफरेंट टाइप के फील्ड मीटिंग्स करे, डिजिटल वॉल प्रिंटिंग से हमने मार्केटिंग करी, यूट्यूब चैनल जो लोकल चैनल होते हैं उनको हमने पैसे दिए एंड उनसे मार्केटिंग कराई, फेसबुक गूगल में पेड मार्केटिंग करी। आई डोंट थिंक दैट इज मेकिंग ओवरऑल सेंस। बट जो इनका यूटिलाइजेशन है दैट इज ऑल्सो ऑलमोस्ट 72%। द ओनली इशू आई एम फाइंडिंग इज कि भाई 70 to 75% अगर यूटिलाइजेशन है तो कैपेसिटी बढ़ा लो। क्योंकि कोई स्ट्रॉन्ग रीजंस तो उन्होंने लिखा नहीं है। आई थिंक दे हैव ट्राइड टू समवट मेक देयर ट्रेड रिसीवेबल्स हाई एंड देन डू सम फजिंग इन देयर नंबर्स। बट ओवरऑल डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स इनके पूरे इंडिया में आई थिंक 4 स्टेट्स में है, गुजरात, राजस्थान, हरियाणा एंड महाराष्ट्र में। टोटल नंबर ऑफ डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स ऑलमोस्ट मोर देन 1100। तो डिस्ट्रीब्यूटरशिप तो इनका स्ट्रांग है, बट अगेन की दिस इज नॉट अ मोड काइंड ऑफ बिजनेस जिसको ऐसा होना चाहिए कि यार मेरा ब्रांड है तो मैं ही लूंगा, मतलब मेरी सीड्स बिकेंगी। दिस इज मोर ऑफ अ प्राइस कंपटीशन काइंड ऑफ बिजनेस की भाई जिसका प्राइस सही होगा वो ले लेंगे। प्लस इनका जो वो भी है, जिन्होंने टाई अप भी करा हुआ है एक फर्म से, जो बाहर का फर्म है उससे जो उन्होंने टाइप भी करा हुआ है, दैट इज ऑल्सो काइंड ऑफ नेगेटिव पॉइंट फॉर देयर रेपुटेशन। द ओनली थिंग कंफर्टिंग इज कि शॉर्ट टर्म में पीपल विल ट्राई टू रीडेट दिस।
गॉट इट।
बट अगेन जो आपने पूछा था कि इसका एकदम अचानक क्या हो गया, उसका आरएसपी में भी दे हैव नॉट मेंशन्ड इट क्या हुआ है, खाली बकवास लिखी हुई है कि मार्केटिंग कर दिया, ये कर दिया। मेरे को तो नहीं लगता कि 4x प्रॉफिट उससे हो जाता है।
Got it. And from my understanding, जितना मैं देख रहा हूँ, there is something happening in this issue. Like there is a lot of demand. Like I haven't seen anyone like saying so this issue can do well. At least that is what the gray market expects it, right? So if it is at 10
यस
PE, if it opens at 90%, then it's at 19, right? And Nirman, I'm assuming would Nirman be a okay, Nirman agree be a okay peer for this, which is at 17. So after that also,
या
if anything, would be a short-term rally where this market is doing what it is doing and then it will correct in the longish term because it's a small size IPO, 23 crore का IPO.
यस करेक्ट।
Got it. That's my review as well.
एक वही है कि लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए तो मतलब भगवान ही मालिक होगा इसका, क्योंकि यार मतलब यार बैलेंस शीट पे प्लांट ही नहीं है। अगर कोई कंपनी ने यार 24 करोड़ लगाए हैं तो कुछ प्लांट तो 2 करोड़ का प्लांट है। कौन सी बीज बना रहे हैं पता नहीं 2 करोड़ के प्लांट से और 8 करोड़ का प्रॉफिट दिखा रहे हैं। मतलब इसमें इन्वेस्ट करने से बेटर है फिर शॉर्ट टर्म खेल लेते हैं, 2 करोड़ का मैं प्लांट डाल लेता हूँ, फिर 8 करोड़ प्रॉफिट मेरा भी होगा।
जब ऐसा करे तो मुझे बताना, मैं प्री IPO इन्वेस्टर आना चाहूंगा. But yeah, that is what our review was with respect to Dhanlaxmi Crop Science. Tanmay, Rohit, do you guys have anything to add? And are you guys planning to apply as well, at least for the IPO?
Honestly, I've not studied, but if Yash is saying apply, I will apply.
Perfect. With that, let's move forward. Now we'll talk about one main board in the interest of time, and then one very small SME we can cover in the last 2-3 minutes per se. So the next main board company which we are going to talk about is Vishal Mega Mart. उसकी बात करते हैं. Before that, just want to highlight, अगर आपने बीच में ज्वाइन किया है तो ऊपर यूट्यूब चैनल का कमेंट पिंड है. गो अहेड एंड फॉलो द यूट्यूब चैनल. उस पर आप जाके नोटिफिकेशंस ऑन भी कर दीजिए, तो जब भी कोई भी वीडियो आएगा तो आप उनको सुन सकते हो एट योर ओन पेस. With that, let's move forward to Vishal Mega Mart. Vishal Mega Mart is a hypermarket chain targeting budget-friendly people through its pan-India network of 645 stores, a mobile app, a website, and has presence across 414 cities in 28 states and 2 union territories. So a very well-known brand in terms of like just the supermarket grocery chain that you can think of. In terms of the IPO details, the company is owned by Kedara Capital mostly and is coming up with an IPO of 8,000 crores. So a huge size IPO. All of it is OFS. It's not growth capital which is going into the company. The promoters are taking an exit of 8,000 crores. And in terms of the financials, the company is coming in with 8,945 crores of revenue and 4,461 crores of PAT. So FY24 PAT of the company is like 450 CR. and LM like Kotak, ICICI were the main guys, and then there were a few others, few others as well, like JP Morgan, Jefferies, etc. So with that, maybe Tanmay, handing it over to you. Do you want to go ahead and talk about Vishal Mega Mart?
Is my voice clear?
Yes.
So Vishal Mega Mart Limited is one of the India's top three offline first hyperlocal value retail chain. So this company is into the middle and lower middle class. They're catering to that segment. Matlab, this guys sell the t-shirts for just 100 rupees, and I think their top, I think the most premium product goes for 1200, 1400 in the. सर मेरा थोड़ा आवाज ब्रेक हो रहा है क्या?
नहीं नहीं सुनाई दे रहा है.
ओके एक्चुअली ना मैं जरा बाहर हूँ, वाईफाई लगा है यहाँ पे, बट थोड़ा सा सिग्नल कम है.
नहीं, you
Okay.
can go ahead.
So the apparel, what this guys sell, comes from, is in the range from 100 rupees to 1200 rupees. Okay. This company has 645 stores across 414 cities. Matlab, the network is very large. 645 stores is not at all a small network. I'll just give the product mix for this. Apparel contributes 45% to the revenue, general merchandise for 27%, and FMCG is also for 27%. I think in the interview or the IPO meet, there was one interesting point. I'll just talk that how how the CEO Gurinder Singh spoken. He said कि Maggi DMart में बिकता है 36 rupees में. We provide this similar quality at 19 rupees. If the Cadbury of 20 rupees is available or at 19 rupees or 18 rupees in the DMart store, we sell that at 9 rupees. And with giving the same quality, they just outsource that from an Indonesian brand and I think or a bahar ki company. So I think what they're trying to do is make a niche where they are selling a good, decent quality product at a very, very reasonable, I would say cheap prices, which is gaining a lot of traction, which can be easily seen in their financial track record. So the company is raising 8,000 crores completely an OFS. Now, one would say that there is an OFS that too of an 8,000 crores, so why should we invest in it, or why there is complete OFS? The reason is very simple. The company has almost a 700 crore cash on books. It's a very good cash flow generating company. Consistently, it's generating the cash flows. It can consistently more generate almost 300, 400 crores annually from here. So this company actually don't need any kind of cash. मतलब सिंपल है, इनको एक स्टोर खोलने को 5-6-7 करोड़ रुपए लगता है. उनके पास 700 करोड़ कैश पड़ा है. 25-26 में ऑलमोस्ट ये और 500-700 कर लेंगे तो दे इजीली हैव दैट runway to grow their store count from 645 to 845, 900 in from the internal accruals itself, and debt bhi kuch nahi hai, books mein zero debt, they can even raise debt, so they don't need any kind of fresh capital. I'll just go to their I'll just give one split before going into the financials. The sale from their own brands is 73% and third party is 27%. So why did I told you this figure was, there was a recent chain bazaar style, but their margins were comparatively low than this. The reason was that the majority revenue came from the third party labels than the own labels. So they have a good, very high chunk of revenue coming from their own products and brands. So they maintain their margins, and which is, I think, in fact, they have one of the best margins in the industry. FY23, the company delivered a revenue of 7,586 crores. PAT on that was 321 crores. It was approx 36% growth from the FY22 compared, but that was due to the pent-up demand after the COVID. So the FY23 cannot be a good metric to see company's growth. FY24, the company did a revenue of 8,912 crores. PAT increased to 462 crores. It was roughly 17.6% growth. And we have the H1 numbers. Revenue is at 5,032 crores and the bottom line is at 254 crores. I think H1 of FY25 and H1 of FY24, the growth is roughly 19.3%. which is I think very good compared to the peers, because the in India, I think majority of the retail chains have seen a slowdown in Q1 and Q2, and even few have seen some uh, demand falling even as expected in the Diwali season. But the company has still managed to grow by roughly 19.3%. It's two interesting metrics. First one is the company has the lowest turnaround time for a store to turn, मतलब एक नया स्टोर इन्होंने लगाया है तो उसको प्रॉफिटेबल या फिर ब्रेक इवन टू प्रॉफिटेबल आने में कितना टाइम लगता है. So the metrics in 19 months, which is best in the industry. Then be it DMart, be it Trend, be it Bazaar, be it any value retail, it's the best in the industry. And I think this company also has the second best same store sales growth, which is 14%. It is also I think second best in the industry. Now we will go to the peer comparison. First, I'll say ki if you go on P, this company looks at roughly 74 times FY24, and roughly it would look like a 55, 60 times FY25. But and if you compare it with the peers, DMart looks like 120 times, and Trent looks 200 times. But honestly, these numbers don't show you the real metrics. So we will go it by comparing on the EV/EBITDA. I'll just now tell ki FY24 I'll just go. FY24 DMart EV/EBITDA is 60.4 times, 60.4 times. Trent is trading at 124. See what is Trent? Zudio and Westside Tata's brand. Okay, 124 times, which is almost double to DMart. And Vishal is coming at an EV/EBITDA of 29 times. See, DMart is at 60 times, Trent is at 124 times, Vishal is coming at 29 times. I'll go FY25 estimate. DMart is trading at 54 times, Trent is coming at 91 times, Vishal is coming at 24.6 times. And in FY26 estimated, DMart is available at 44.3 times, Trent at 68 times, Vishal is available at 20 times. मतलब इस कंपनी का प्राइसिंग बहुत इजीली किया गया है, बहुत आसान था. 20 times FY26 EV/EBITDA done. मतलब this is how an investment banker would have thought while pricing this IPO. And I think the scope is very good. Now, see, one will say कि Trend का तो अलग level का growth है. They can easily do 30% plus for next 4 years, and that is, I think, we can surely accept that by seeing the some stock price growth and the brokerage reports and even the Q1, Q2 numbers. DMart is growing at roughly 13, 14, 15%, and it would grow at that 13, 15, 16% for next 2-3 years. Vishal can do that 18, 20, 21%, 22% even. So I feel that the gap is very large. Trend is at 68 times, but I feel ki we can give Vishal a 30% discount to DMart and roughly 50 to 60%, 50% discount to Trend, which would take me to an EV/EBITDA of roughly 30 times, which is almost 50%. मतलब this numbers look very big यार. 50% upside कैसे हो सकती है कि 35,000 crore का market cap है. But यार, this is how this sector and the retail chains get valued. So I feel it can be applied in the IPO. If you get allotment, which is highly likely because it's an 8,000 crore IPO with 35% retail, you can even hold it for, I feel it can do well. I'm overall positive. See, there are few reviews कि यार विशाल में कोई नहीं जाता. विशाल like 2012 में bankrupt हुआ था. Yes, I know all the story. उसके बाद Kedara has taken over that. I'll just give a metric. 2018 they took over the company at 5,050 to 5,500 crores. Now they're valuing the company at 35,000 crores, I think, which looks big, five times up almost. But the financials have also grown in that way, and I think that was a what you can say stressed kind of sale. This is not at all a stress sale. This is an absolute healthy kind of a company, and people say that no one goes to Vishal, but the financials say a different story. And I think one more point to be noted is like this company doesn't have a good presence as of now in Gujarat and Maharashtra. And I think the management has spoken clearly that we actually aim to open almost 100 stores in Bombay itself in next 3 years. I think that's a massive target, and they are yet to go into Tamil Nadu. They recently went into Kerala, and Gujarat is also an untapped market for them. I feel the potential is very large, and I feel that this is a very unique kind of a company because see, Trent को टर्न अराउंड होने में बहुत टाइम लगता है. ट्रेंट का स्टॉक प्राइस अभी दिख रहा है बट पहले कुछ नहीं करता था ट्रेंट. एंड डीमार्ट इज एट सी इफ यू सी फ्रॉम लास्ट 2-3 years, डीमार्ट इज दैट एट स्टैग्नेंट. As why it was stagnant because the valuations were extremely stretched. But now an investor, IPO investor is getting a entity, a mature entity at an what we can say at a reasonable, decent valuations. And I feel the institutional demand for this IPO should be extremely crazy, and the anchor book should be one of the best. So I think I am surely going into it. I'm going to apply on it.
Got it. So that is what the review was. Almost covered a lot of things. I also feel that the company is deeply valued and there it is leaving a lot on the table per se for all the IPO investors as well. But yeah, that is the whole point. Like this is not a distress sell. This is an IPO. IPOs are usually one-way priced. So let's see how the growth is. But definitely seems very interesting. Applied should definitely be kept in the bucket. It's a 8,000 CR IPO, so should get good allotment as well.
So I'll
Rohit,
add one more thing. Many people say कि यार आप ये नया from last 2-3 sessions we would have seen कि majority companies were valuing on EBITDA or some other metrics than going on the P level because retail investors are see मतलब P तो बहुत कम लोगों को समझता है. जिनको समझता है they say that P is the only metrics to value a company. But that's not the case. But for them who want to see it on a P level, FY26 can be approx 800-900 crore पैट और अभी वो आ रहा है 35,000 के मार्केट कैप पे. तो आई थिंक एंड इफ यू जस्ट सी द पियर्स, ट्रेंट इज ट्रेडिंग एट रफली 120 times 100-120 times 26 sorry 25 and roughly 70-80 times 26, and DMart is trading at almost 80 times similar. This is like available at roughly 40 times. So if you can and see the values which are told and valued, Vishal was like after giving it a much lower multiple, I gave a 30% discount to DMart. I gave a 50% discount to the Trent. Still, we can see 50% upside in Vishal. So just thinking that the bankers have valued it at a, I think, attractive level. They have left some scope. It's not कि they have just taken all the juice from the table. So I feel जिनको P पे भी लगता है, so P पे भी ठीक है, ज़्यादा महंगा बिल्कुल नहीं है.
I'll add one point. I think this is one of the reasons why DMart itself has struggled over the last 3 years, and everyone knows about this, also knows about the quick commerce story, and how that has eaten value retail, or it has eaten retail in general. Value retail is, like one of DMart's stories two years ago when value retail, when quick commerce came, was that the customers are different. It's a premium customer who wants convenience. I'm value retail. They'll still come and buy from me because it's cheaper. But that has not played out. You've seen that in the, sort of the growth of their own quick commerce and the fact that their overall sales have been quite, have not grown at the pace that it used to. One of the small advantages Vishal has, I don't know how long it'll last, but most of what Vishal's focus is tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities, where quick commerce itself, that impact of quick commerce is not that high. Most of quick commerce in the top 20, 30 cities only, and it will be that way for some more time. So they have not yet been cannibalized. So I feel the ability for a Vishal to show growth, the kind of growth numbers that the street looks for, 20, 22%, maybe more, is a lot easier than for somebody like a DMart. I do think the market will value that. And the fact that quick commerce will take time. It's not easy. I've seen this with Swiggy also, where they struggle to go from, initially at least, they struggle to go from, the core urban distinct to getting into sort of tier 2, tier 3 cities. It's not that easy to make the economics work. And for quick commerce, it's even harder, where density and that number of orders to set up a dark store is really, really crucial. So it's like quick commerce will come in probably at some point in time, but maybe it is still a little bit away. The moment there is the first signs of quick commerce entering these cities, maybe the market will start thinking about it. But right now, that's not there. So I think that is one big plus. It doesn't, unlike a DMart, which has to compete with quick commerce today, Vishal does not. So I think that is one additional positive. Even I feel there is a lot. At least when I first saw it and I looked at the EBITDA multiples, I thought there was huge value on the table. even if you compare with the smaller value retails, the V-Marts and whatever, the Bazaar styles of the world, Bazaar style is a different case, but the others, at least, there is still decent, like most of them are trading at 30 times-ish EV EBITDA. So I think this will definitely get a premium over all of those players. My sense is there is somewhere from 20 to 50% on the table for this company. Baki market batayega. But I do agree that this is a slam dunk apply.
Yeah, got it. I have a question which says about how much do you expect the big HNI subscription to be? Any answers on that? By the way, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to post them in the chat box and we can take them as well. I expect it to be like 4 to 5 times oversubscribed because the premium has jumped up. So I expect like 4 to 5 absolute terms of 20 to 25x. Am I over counting?
यस सर मतलब यार 4-5 आईपीओ और एसएमईज भी है सो आई फील थोड़ा सा नंबर इट कैन गो आई फील इट कैन बी सी roughly 15 times I feel money wise 15 times
Which is 3x by apps.
correct.
Yeah, I think so. See, 8,000 crore, I know Wari was another level, but if you take Bajaj also, I think it was 8 times oversubscribed, 8.5 times on a 6,000 something crore IPO, with like 6,500 with some employee quota also. So, and shareholder quota. This one is that much bigger, 20% larger. And that was obviously crazy numbers, no real competition. So even I sense that this will be 3-4x only at best, and it's only 25% GMP versus 100% GMP. It's not likely to be more than 3-4x, and at least 1-2 other good IPOs are there overlapping.
और ये भी चीज है ना कि यार जैसे जैसे आईपीओ क्लोज होते जाएगा प्रीमियम नीचे आता जाएगा सो दैट कैन आल्सो गेट सम सब्सक्रिप्शन अवे फ्रॉम इट.
Yeah, one thing is nowadays anchor book makes no difference to the GMP. So even if I am also expecting a very good anchor book, but I don't know if the GMP will move up much more than this.
And the
Sir, actually,
GMP is
what
already factored
initially
in a lot of
names
things.
have came in the anchor book, I think will make a difference. But yes, the demand is extremely crazy. That's all what I can say.
Yeah, let's see how it goes. But that is with respect to Vishal Mega Mart. There are a few other IPOs as well which are coinciding with it or closing the second day. So it's a huge week in terms of the IPOs next weeks. We'll talk about them, but yeah, let's just go forward and in the next 4 minutes maybe cover one small SME which is coming. And I was intrigued when I saw the SME. The SME's name is Toss the Coin Limited. Talking about it, it's a marketing consulting company that provides custom-made marketing services to clients. Most of the clients are B2B tech companies and it provides them CMO service, go-to-market service, sales enablement service, etc. Talking about the IPO details, companies coming with an IPO of 9.2 crores. That's right, just 9.2 crores, all fresh issue, at a market cap of 34.4 crores. The revenue was 5 CR in FY24 with a PAT of 1.1 CR. One interesting thing, it is a book built issue. It is not a fixed price issue. So 9 crore के issue में भी anchor होगा. And the LM for the issue is Beeline Capital. So again, just very quickly talking about the company, not a lot to talk about because it's small size company. It's one of the many marketing agencies that you would find. The founders seem genuine, very interesting. But one thing which I want to highlight is maybe to start with, as I was saying, just 5 lakh issues on offer. 5 lakh shares on offer in this company as like the company in itself, like they're just raising 9 crores, right? And out of which 142K would be with anchors, 25K with market maker. So that leaves you with a total free float of like 3.4 lakh shares, which is, I was calculating like 550 lots. So there can be at max 550 people who can be able to own that issue, right? So the whole GMP that you see is because of this point. Because it's such a small size issue and it's a book built issue, I am probably seeing the first book built issue over the last 1 year, which is just small in size. So yeah, talking about it, it's a Tamil Nadu-based company. Uh, their website is tossthe.co.in. So they had like वो 2012 में बना ली थी, but started the company in 2020, and they do all kinds of frameworks for advertising, branding, positioning of the product, etc. And like that's what they do. So in terms of the services, the company majorly does CMO service, which is like strategic consulting, content office, where you give the companies like make content for different companies, help them make content to retain employees, help them make content for Instagram, all of those services. Then they do GTM of office, which is go to market, which is like branding, website development. How do you go ahead and which customer to target, all of those solutions. Then they do sales enablement as well, which is essentially just the demand generation part of it, performance marketing, कि भाई कितना return आ रहा है, कैसा आ रहा है. So all of those, it's a very niche, small size marketing company. I saw they had a few clients which they had done some service for, like, and like it's just so small that it doesn't make sense to look at, like, let's say top five customers. I was seeing that the top five customers Reliance has increased over time in the last 3 years. Now their top 5% customers make up 60%, which is slightly higher than last year, which was 48%. But revenue is the chota. It's like a 5 CR revenue that it doesn't make sense to even think about it at that level. And like talking about the split, also split is like they make like 340 lakhs or 3.4 CR of their revenue from CMO office, which is essentially the Instagram content marketing, etc. And then like 90 lakhs of their businesses from website development, brand marketing, posters, etc. All of those works. They have like 43 employees, and they're raising 9 CR right now, out of which like 3 CR जो ये raise कर रहे हैं वो एक marketing strategy platform बनाने के लिए कर रहे हैं, where like it's like a dashboard where all the campaigns which are running, वो सब client वहां पे देख सकता है. Then around 1.2 CR ये raise कर रहे हैं, तो जो नए ऑफिस खोल रहे हैं उनके लिए इनको सिक्योरिटी डिपॉजिट भरना है. बट ये जो नए ऑफिस खोल रहे हैं वो अगले साल में खोलेंगे. लाइक सिर्फ एक कोयम्बटूर वाला ऑफिस ये एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं इस साल में खोलेंगे. बाकी जो दो ऑफिस हैं बेंगलोर और गुड़गांव के, वो नेक्स्ट ईयर में खोलेंगे. ऑल्दो इट्स सच ए स्मॉल कंपनीज, आई डिडंट रियली अंडरस्टैंड कि इनको दूसरे ऑफिसेज अभी से ही क्यों खोलने हैं. बट maybe it's a very fractional thing where marketing agencies, people like their marketers to be near them. Maybe that's the reason because of which they want to do this. But in terms of the financial performance, I was seeing that the company has done like 3 CR revenue and 1 CR PAT in FY22, 5 CR revenue and 1.8 CR PAT in FY23. फिर वो FY24 में कम हो गया, 5 CR से 1.1 CR हो गया PAT. बट लाइक तो उस हिसाब से कंपनी, अगर मैं FY24 का रेवेन्यू देखूं तो 30 पी पे आ रही है. बट अगर आप देखोगे तो इनने ना वापस से अपने 6 महीने में ऑलरेडी 1.16 CR कर लिया है एट 4.3. सो जंप है इस बार बहुत. बट अगेन इतनी छोटी कंपनी है, 4 करोड़ का रेवेन्यू है, 1 करोड़ का पैट है, तो आई डोंट वांट टू से कि इट इज नॉट जस्टिफाइड इतना जंप कैसे आया. बट अगेन आई एम नॉट लुकिंग एट दिस कंपनी. अप्लाई करना करें, लाइक इट विल बी अ हेवीली सब्सक्राइब्ड आईपीओ. आई थिंक जितने भी आईपीओ होंगे सबसे ज्यादा जीएमपी इसी का ही होगा पर से, बिकॉज इट्स जस्ट सो स्मॉल इन साइज. सो apply if you feel like. I'm definitely not going to apply because it just feels like it will be a way bigger lottery to even try. 550 लॉट कुल मिला के फ्री फ्लोट के, that I'll not be looking at this IPO. That is what my review was. Anything that you guys have to add, or we can just wrap up the space in the next 5 minutes?
Nothing. This is just another marketing agency. I don't see what the fuss about this company is at all. The GMP is purely for making sure it lists at 90% and for people to play those games. Otherwise, this is such a normal business. Nothing wrong with the business itself, but such a normal, average, no moat kind of business. It has no business, giving. It's not good for the long term, for sure. If you get an allotment, ride it and then get out. That's my view.
Yeah, definitely ride it. I feel it is a prime candidate for flippers having a field day with the issue. So do not get in too early, but do not be left holding the parcel, which is easier said than done. But yeah, if you can do it, definitely do it. So that is with respect to the companies that we have covered. So we have covered 4 SMEs today. Just to highlight, हमने आज 4 SMEs की बात करी. And I understand. So we spoke about. We started with Vishal Mega Mart. Sorry, we spoke about Vishal Mega Mart, one mainboard issue, and then we spoke about 4 SMEs issues. हमने Emerald Tire की बात कर ली, धनलक्ष्मी की बात कर ली, जंगल कैंप की बात कर ली और टॉस द कॉइन की बात कर ली. इन सब का रिव्यू आपको यूट्यूब चैनल पे भी मिल जाएगा, जिसको मैं आज शाम को पोस्ट कर दूंगा. सो इफ यू मिस्ड इट, डेफिनेटली गो अहेड एंड फॉलो द यूट्यूब चैनल एज वेल. वहां पे ये पोस्ट कर देंगे. उसके अलावा हम एक और स्पेस करेंगे होपफुली इन द नेक्स्ट 2-3 days where we will talk about the 2 other mainboard IPOs which are closing next week, which are Sai Life Sciences and MobiKwik. We'll talk about them, and then we'll also talk about the 2 SMEs which are closing, which is Purple United and Supreme Facility Management. So 4 more companies we will be reviewing probably over the next couple of days, 2-3 days. So do keep tuned in per se, and then we'll follow up with that. There are a few other companies as well which are closing in the week after that. So it's going to be an interesting week. Anything that you guys want to say in terms of wrapping up comments?
Nothing. It's just nice to see so many IPOs. I just wish they were not all that 13th and 16th. That is the Friday, Monday is going to be complex for people who like applying in multiple IPOs, because you will have to manage your funds and try to go where everyone is not going to improve your ROI. So we'll try and share some pointers on that in the next space.
Yeah, that should be interesting. But just to highlight what I'm planning to do, Vishal Mega Mart, I'll be applying on the SME side. I will probably be applying to Emerald Tires and then recycle that into jungle camps. That is what my thought process is. Or probably a Dhanlaxmi as well. We'll see how it goes. Rohit and Tanmay, I'm assuming you guys are planning to do the same as well.
But I'm also thinking the similar thing. Vishal Mega Mart, number 1. Number 2 would be Emerald Tire, and number 3 would be Jungle Camps. I think 2 and 3 can be jumbled as per situation, but yes, number 1 would be Vishal at any time.
The only thing is there are others that also overlap. So, for example, Vishal money cannot be used in Yash High Voltage, which is on the following day, on the Monday. So, I mean, and Vishal is a given, but there are 3 other IPOs on that day, and then on Monday also. So, I think just that calculation becomes a little complex. Maybe we can, once we've reviewed the other IPOs, we'll have a better idea of which are worth, applying.
We shall do that, yeah. But yeah, with that, we kind of closed today's space. It was a long day space. We wanted to do half an hour today, but we ended up doing 1 hour, 20 minutes. So that's what it is. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining it. Please do follow the YouTube channel if you haven't. I'll post it there in the next hour or so. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everyone.